Hey there, Yuris here, and welcome to the Community Life. Here we talk with the amazing humans from the community world about their journeys and learn from each other. And today we have a conversation with Jen Serrat, a passionate community builder who was born in France, raised in Canada, studied in the US, worked in South Korea and Spain, lived in 7 different countries, and who firmly believes that a key ingredient to success is people and even built her wedding website on a community platform and turned her guest list into community members. So, hello, Jen.
Hi. Hi, Yuri. Thanks for having
Hi.
me.
It's been forever. It's been forever since our last conversation, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like we're
Mm,
always somewhere in the community world. It feels like I always see your face here and there, so it
same.
doesn't feel like we
Maybe
didn't
a
talk.
three
So,
degrees of separation, not six.
yeah. So, tell me, what
Yeah.
are those 7 countries you lived in?
So I was born in France, as you mentioned. My dad's French. My mom is Canadian, so I also lived in Canada. And then lived in the US for 10 years. I also lived in South Korea, Australia, Spain for six, and now I'm in Berlin, Germany.
What is your
Hello.
favorite? What is your favorite country?
Um, I have to say that I was very, very impressed by South Korea.
Hmm.
And I wish I had stayed longer. So in order not to have a similar regret in the future, when I moved to Spain, I thought I would stay longer. And I did 6 years and I loved it. I have, I have a very strong connection to it. And now, that's where I met my now husband, and now we are in Berlin. So I would say the top two are definitely Spain and South Korea.
How did you choose where to move next?
Okay, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but
Maybe
um,
you are, you never know.
well, maybe actually, I feel like maybe you'll appreciate this. So when I lived in Spain, Rafa, my husband, Rafa and I were saying, okay, let's try something else. Let's see what other country has, a booming job market, tech booming anywhere. I also was trying to see what other country I would have more chances in finding a community role because, as we know, in Europe, community is not as well known as in North America. And so, what I did is I created a comparative table
Hmm.
with um, 4 different countries. So those were Denmark, Copenhagen, Zurich, Switzerland, Berlin, Germany.
Mhm.
And just because I wanted to see how Spain compared, I also added Madrid, Spain. And I added points or graded different criteria for each of the country. It was during COVID. So, of course, COVID was high on the list as to how the government was managing it. So all of that stuff was how big the expat community was, how big my alumni university group was, if we knew friends, family, the government happiness index, all of that stuff. And maybe not surprisingly, guess which one came out on top?
Where you are right now, I guess.
No, no, no.
No, okay.
It was Copenhagen.
Hmm.
Copenhagen came in first, Zurich came in second, and Berlin came in third. And but we had a stronger pull and attraction towards Berlin.
Okay.
And we visited it. We've had fun there. There was, and the main deciding factor was that my family, my aunt and uncle, my cousins lived in Hamburg, so it was close
Hmm.
to them. So in the end, we decided
Family
Berlin.
one.
So yeah, so we've been in Berlin for 2.5 years now.
And why Berlin, not Hamburg?
Because Berlin is the spot. Yo, Yuri. I mean, there's so much happening there. Hamburg is beautiful, though. I must say, Hamburg is a prettier city than Berlin, um, which means it's also more expensive, but it's more family oriented if you want something. If you want to be somewhere calmer to raise a family, and we were not there at that stage in our life.
So what languages do you speak?
And I speak English, French, and Spanish. I am too intimidated to take on German, but I should. I should. I think it's so important to learn the language of the country you live in or just like stay in. And it just also shows, respect for its citizens and people. So I will eventually take up German.
I feel like the minus of Berlin is that you don't even have to know German to be there, to live there. And
Yeah, you know what? We do get by. We have been getting by in the last 2.5 years. And we work in English, all of our friends. Like, the good thing about Berlin is that whenever we walk down the street on the sidewalks, I rarely hear German. I just hear, I mean, there's German, but it's the first country that I've been in where I just hear a bunch of different languages
yeah, yeah.
spoken. It's so amazing. Um, so yeah, but government, bureaucracy, all of that stuff, all in German.
Yeah, exactly. So when will you learn German?
Ich weiß. Ich nicht weiß. I don't
Ich
even
will,
think,
ich
no,
will
that's
nicht.
right. It means I don't know. Ich weiß nicht.
Got
But soon
it.
enough.
Yeah.
I think this year for sure.
At least you already know a few words. I also know a few words, because of Duolingo. So I definitely, I definitely know how it feels.
Wait, you create, weren't you like a top Duolingo like member learner? You posted
Uh,
that on LinkedIn. I remember
yeah, something
seeing
like
it.
that. I'm just having fun there because so I know Ukrainian, I know Russian, I know English, I know Polish. So I'm learning Spanish, I'm learning German, Italian, French, Arabic, Japanese,
Okay.
Chinese.
Are
So
you
enough. Yes.
are you human?
I feel
We
like
were just
not. I feel
talking
like
about
I'm a
this.
robot. I'm a robot. I don't mess with my program.
No, that's amazing. I'm always impressed by whatever accomplishments you list or share with us.
But the funniest thing that I understand that languages are okay. If we are talking about, for example, Spanish and Italian, they're very similar. If we are talking about English and German, they're kind of similar. So you can always find some similarities here and there. But if let's say compare, for example, English with Japanese or with Arabic, they're totally different. And I'm thinking, okay, so it means that people in Japan and in Arabic countries, they're thinking totally differently. And just I do just one Duolingo lesson a day of each language, and it helps me to work to kind of train my brain. And
Yes,
it,
for
I
sure.
don't know, maybe just the thing I'm telling myself, but I feel like it helps me to understand other cultures, because like if they have
Hmm.
this hard from my perspective alphabet and this hard from my perspective language, like how do they even think?
I
So
know, and they have completely different scripture, but on top of that, like you mentioned, your brain, this is really good for your cognitive abilities. That helps you down the line. So it keeps your brain
yeah.
sharp. Um, so yes, I should take
And
on
and
lessons
the fun
sooner.
thing to share on LinkedIn always, like I learn a bunch of language and people are like, oh my God, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah. But since you're talking about cultures, yeah, learning the differences through the languages, I'm sure you've heard of the culture map. I keep like recommending this book to everybody. It's really good and easy read. So I would recommend people that again.
Talking about cultures, how did those different cultures in the places you lived in
Hmm.
influence you?
So I have a story from South Korea. The when I first started, so South Korea is has a culture very fixated on beauty.
Hmm.
And when I was there, I may have discovered it or interacted with it in a harsh way, but I learned to kind of just brush it off and remind myself that's just, it's normal for them. But one was, so I was teaching English in South Korea, and in the class, I have a Korean co-teacher,
Mhm.
and very nice. She's great, I must say. and I was showing her a picture of myself as a kid. I think we were teaching like 5 or 6 years old children, so I showed her a picture of myself when I was 5 or 6, and she said, "Oh, wow, did you have plastic surgery? You look so much prettier now."
What a
So
compliment.
I was like, "Oh no, I just had braces, but I haven't had plastic surgery." And then the second time, it was 6 months into my contract, and she takes me aside while we're on an outdoor trip with the children, and she said, "Jen, did you gain weight? You were so much prettier when you first started."
Wow.
So, I mean, anybody would be like, "What? How dare you? I'm so
Yeah, yeah,
feminine."
yeah.
But I mean, it's true, right? I was eating so many kimbap. They're so good, bibimbap and everything else. So like, it was maybe just a wake up call that, okay, I should probably go to the gym right now.
And it totally shows the difference in culture because if somebody will say something
Yeah.
like that in Europe or in the US, people like will be like crazy.
Yeah, because their perception is just different. And so I didn't take it personally. And, but it's always a fun story to share.
But I feel like it still was hard not to take it personally.
Yes, and believe me, there are some times when I do take things personally, and something I'm working on. But for some reason, I wasn't that offended. I mean, it's stung a little bit, but
Was it
also,
because, yeah, yeah, please go on.
oh, sorry. Um, uh, Also, when I first got there, so I got there in October, so it was Halloween,
Hmm.
and I dressed up as Catwoman. I think because the Batman with the Christopher Nolan Batman came out, or I don't remember. Um, and so I was Catwoman, so I was wearing this spandex suit, and Koreans were stopping me on the street to take pictures with me. It was so weird. It was so weird. But obviously, I was like, "Hi, okay, yeah, sure, take a picture." I felt like a tiny celebrity for like 5 minutes.
Uh, it's so fun. Yeah, and I I can't imagine somebody doing. Yeah, I kind of can imagine somebody doing this in the US or in Europe, but yeah, it's definitely. I feel like it's huge difference in culture, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it really teaches you to understand that people are different,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, as you said, don't take it personally, but kind of like try to understand what's
Yeah.
behind.
But I must say, the South Koreans that were around our age were super friendly. They always wanted to talk to us, get to know us. Very open and always inviting you to spots. So I had really the best time in South Korea. I really like broadened my perspective, opened up the doors. After that, I said I'm not going back home, and so I went to Australia. And I worked for Greenpeace for a bit, and then I went to Spain.
Have you ever had the same costumes after that Halloween?
No, 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 because I had gained weight. Remember? So,
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like trauma for life
but I
after.
do love Halloween, um, especially doing the makeup on the face, like skulls or the clowns or something like that. But no, I didn't.
What was your favorite Halloween costume, except for Catwoman?
I'll send you a few pictures so you can see. But this past year, I dressed up as a bride from Dias de los Muertos.
Hmm.
So I also had a tight suit with all flowers and the flower crown, and I did do my makeup.
Wow.
Hmm. What about you?
I feel like I'm bad in having costumes. Yeah. My my best costume is like wearing nice t-shirt or something like that. So, and the funniest thing,
That says this is my costume.
and talking about culture, like I didn't know what Halloween is up
Mm.
to, I don't know, 25 years or something like that, because in Ukraine we just recently started to celebrate Halloween, just because of the US influence and all this stuff. But it was never like the party, Halloween party. Like we never had something like that. So we didn't have this chance to try that. So it's kind of not incorporated. It's not in my blood. So yeah,
But Western Europe,
I just love seeing people in different nice and weird costumes. So
totally. But yeah, Western Europe has made Halloween a little more popular. And it's funny because I think it's not even American. It comes from Ireland, I think.
but I really love the Coco movie.
Love it. I cry every time.
Yeah, exactly. And I still have this song when he was singing to
Yeah.
this
Da, 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 go, go.
yeah, yeah.
And have you seen Encanto? Since we're
Yeah,
talking about
it's the
Pixar
best.
movies,
It's the best
amazing.
movie. It's the best
Those
movie
two,
about
like
the.
any. Mm,
Even though we're not talking about community building, but that's exactly. I always say that Mirabelle is an example of community builder, because it seems like she doesn't have superpowers, but her superpower is exactly, helping others to
yeah.
really have their superpowers.
Loved it.
So it's amazing. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your parents. Who are they?
Well, I'm trying to figure out where to start. So both my parents were born in Morocco, and I have a family that dates back hundreds of years of living there.
Wow.
And then my parents were first generation immigrant to France for my dad and Canada for my mom. And the funny story with my mom is that my grandparents had applied for a visa in Australia
Hmm.
and Brazil and Canada. But I think the story is that Canada granted them the visa first. So that's why there's a Canada there. And my dad, yeah, went to France. So now they both live in Florida.
I feel like the love for travels is just in your blood.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think maybe my connection to Spain comes from this Moroccan side. Iberia, Spanish Peninsula, all of that. So yeah. Although my travel, I don't know why, because I thought when I moved to the States, talking about cultures again.
Mhm.
In the States, I did my undergrad there, and there it common after graduation, if you're in a relationship, you move in together, you get a dog, you get engaged, you get married, you have kids. Oh,
Okay.
sorry. You buy the house first,
Ah.
and then, you have kids or whichever. And that was for me too soon because most of my friends would do that at 25, 26. And I was thinking, okay, I'm totally integrated into the American culture. I've been there since I was 16. I loved it. But I felt like, well, I have my French passport. I could do something with that. And so that's when I decided, okay, if I don't get this promotion at work, then that's my sign to go teach in South Korea. Because I was like, everybody would always have these happy hours, go to the same bars. And I just got bored and it wasn't for me. So I was dragged to this happy hour and good thing I went because that's where I met someone who had just returned from South Korea. And so that kind of lit up, gave me that light bulb. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to do that too. And so I did.
It
I
was
didn't
a
get the
sign.
promotion and I went. And it was the beginning of the rest of my life.
2 signs.
Yeah.
How do you feel about signs in life?
So I believe, I do believe that I do believe in fate.
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean that I'm hands off and I let things happen. I like to guide my life in the direction that I want, giving it a little push. So I don't, for example, let life happen to me. I like to make life happen for myself. Um, in terms of signs, I haven't really focused too much on, oh, this is a sign. Until recently, something happened where I know things just kind of lined up, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we have to guide our life in that direction now and see what comes out of it. But otherwise, I don't necessarily wait for signs and then make a decision.
It's
I
not,
got a sign and it opened up my eyes. I am happy.
I feel like you like singing. How often do you go to karaoke's?
Okay. I love to sing, and I think in a past life I was a singer or an entertainer or an actor. I love to go karaoke here. They have karaoke rooms, and we go often with some friends. But I have huge stage fright and super nervous. And for that reason, I feel like I haven't succeeded as a singer. I actually auditioned for the X Factor and The Voice in the
Wow.
States. And wow, that experience was something else because it's not at all what's put on TV. I remember I was so nervous. It was in a huge basketball court, and everybody auditioned simultaneously,
Hmm.
but everybody was divided with like black curtains. So you can hear everybody sing right when you were about to go on. And I remember when I went on, I was so nervous. I took my contacts lens out, so everything would be blurry and I wouldn't see anybody. And I remember there was I went to and I got these like tiny ass little flasks of vodka or something, and I just took a quick liquid courage liquid courage shot.
Liquid courage.
And um, the two people who I happened to have to sing in front of were two producers, and one of them was an actual producer that has been seen on TV. So
Wow.
I was like, freaking out. And right before it was my turn to sing, there was this woman who had powerhouse voice. Like the reason why I think these are fake is because she was not let through. What amazing voice. And then I just come in and I'm like, Bonnie Raitt, let's give him something to talk about. Probably not the best choice of song, but they're like, oh well, it's a no for today. That was an experience.
And even though that you have this being afraid of stage, you are event organizer and you're a community builder and you're working with a lot of events and you definitely go to a stage. So do you have it every time you go on stage, or maybe you've learned somehow to manage it?
Yes, I have it every time. Um, and I never managed it until 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, where I said, okay, this is crazy. You need
Enough is
to,
enough.
yeah, like I got so nervous at some point that I wanted to back out and cancel, like right when it was about to be my turn to go on stage 30 seconds prior. And I was like, why am I doing this to myself? Why I don't need to sing? People don't need to hear me sing. But it ended up being an amazing experience.
Hmm.
And yeah, after that, I was like, okay, this can't be healthy. So I started meditating. And I started reading about um, your brain. So I'm currently reading this book called The Chimp Paradox.
Hmm.
And have you heard about it?
I've heard. I even have it on my to read list, so it's
Yes.
somewhere close.
So real quick summary. The first chapter was all I needed pretty much to read. I felt like I
Okay.
don't need to read the rest of the book, but the first chapter kind of tells you that when you are made in the womb, you're created with two brains, and two
Hmm.
different personalities, the frontal lobe and what's called the limbic lobe. I'm probably saying it wrong. But the frontal lobe is your human personality, the ones that's logic.
Hmm.
And then you have the chimp part, and the chimp is based on all of your emotions. you could see why it's called the chimp, because chimps are very unstable emotional beings. And so anytime you are, the chimp is is responsible for your survival.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime you feel like you're about to die, which is obviously an over exaggeration, going on stage is not going to kill me, the chimp is like, run, get the hell out of there. So about anything, whenever you feel stressed, I'm now, through learning this book, I'm managing and I'm realizing, like, okay, this is my chimp talking. I'm totally fine. Nothing has happened. So, the human and the chimp, they like fight to take control.
You
Um,
know, I can imagine creating this some kind of ritual before going on stage, like to eat some bananas. And if people ask like, why do you eat it? I'm just feeding my chimp, you know?
Nice one, Yuri.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
learning to be a
calming him.
stand-upper.
It's like that Sneakers. Is it Snickers? Snickers bar. Oh, the chimp. He's just hungry.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're not you when you're hungry. Yeah, I know that. How much did you use imagination when you were a kid?
I want to say the enough. I don't necessarily remember, but recently, you probably have seen this. There's been this article out, or people being surprised that half of the population, don't quote me on the statistics, but has an internal monologue or has an internal voice where they speak to each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was part of the group that thought everybody had that because I have it. And so just because I have it, now I'm thinking that it is likely that I had a pretty high imagination as a child. And the imagination just leads to this creativity. So I think that's also why I really love the creativity that comes in community work. And that should I ever transition out of community or do a work that's parallel to community, it would have to have a creative aspect to it.
And it's also so great to have somebody like you to talk to.
Yeah, with my 3 different personalities in my brain.
Have you seen this movie Split?
Yes,
So yeah,
but that's a scary movie.
I feel like
That's scary.
not to that level. Yeah.
No. It's Jen. Just Jen.
How competitive are you?
I don't like competition. I don't like competition at all because it feeds into the stress and it feeds the chimp. So I prefer, obviously competition is inevitable. Sometimes, if I win, if I see that I'm winning, then I'll get more competitive. And I think with age, because of wisdom and your experience that you acquire, you are more confident in your abilities or in taking on challenges. So that has made me a little bit more competitive. But originally, younger, when you're more insecure with who you are, competition was just not for me. Remember when I had to go sing in front of producers, I did take some liquid courage and I took out my contact lens. So right now I keep them in and I don't drink. But yeah, I wouldn't go for something that's highly competitive, even though a little bit of competition is always healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I accept it.
How did you feel when you had golden medals in the karate tournaments?
You're bringing out the karate. Wow. I feel like a lot of things in my life have been clashing with each other or a contradiction because even though I have stage fright and I'm nervous to speak or sing or take on things or don't like competition, I still appreciate being in the limelight or highlighting people alongside me or taking the stage because singing makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. In terms of tournaments, obviously that's a competition and that's physical, actual physical competition where we lightly, most of the time, punch or kick each other. Um,
Lightly.
um, I did not like the tournament, but I guess, maybe, I don't know. It was obviously a relief when I did win those rounds. And it did teach me to just be resilient and also to stand up for myself. It's not just, self-defense. It teaches you mental fortitude. And yeah, just to stand your ground, especially when you're the only girl surrounded by boys. So,
But but you have so many medals.
yeah, it is a regret, actually, to have stopped. But I have a huge affinity for martial arts. And although I don't continue karate, I do kickboxing right now.
Do you still remember any katas or other moves from karate?
If I saw the video a few times of the kata, then yes. But I could not show it. Don't ask me.
You know, the fun thing that I also did karate and I hated tournaments because of like I have
The
to. It's
sparring.
not because I need to punch, but because I can get punched. I didn't like that, and and I still remember every time I see a movie and somebody does some katas, I'm like, oh, I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
that.
isn't
Yeah,
that cool? But there's different types of martial arts. So my karate was Shotokan karate.
yeah, same here.
Um, yeah. Do you remember Basadai?
Yeah, but
That
it
was
was it was like one of the hardest, I guess, katas. It was definitely not the first, I guess.
no. I think you had to be like a brown belt. Um, but yeah, some movies that I love were Ip Man, the first ones, and anything with martial arts is still cool for me to watch.
You know, you are talking about this, and I feel like I'm having in my mind first moves of the first kata, and it was like to left and to right, then to
Yeah.
straight, then
Uh-huh.
once again to left, right, and so it was not that hard. But yeah, you mentioned brown belt, so basically I had it. So yeah, I knew a lot of them, and
Watch out, worlds. Yuri has a brown
yeah,
belt.
the fun thing that my wife is kidding this remind me some moves, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I have no idea about those moves. Like I don't remember
Anymore.
them. But
Well,
them
maybe
and
you
it
have muscle memory.
yeah, for sure. Because when I see them and if somebody will show me, I can definitely repeat it. So
Hmm.
it's how our brain, if you do something long enough, you definitely remember it. And yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to think, I mean, hopefully I never have to use my karate, honestly. But if I would, then they're coming with me. They're going down with me.
Tell me a story of your Portuguese sailboat coast tour and what happened next.
Okay, this is the story. So, I'm going to tell you the story in two different perspectives. So think about it like a movie,
Okay,
when
yeah.
you see someone's perspective happening and then something happens and then you see the other perspective of the backstage and how they got there. So, um, this is the story of how I got engaged. And to give context, I think last year I was turning 35 and it just dawned on me that, oh my God, I'm going to be 40 in 5 years. This means full on adult. I am getting old now. And I was like, just thinking out loud with my then boyfriend. We were having tacos in Hamburg. And I was just like, okay, so in 5 years I'm 40. And if we want kids, then that means by 40, we should have at least one kid. And then I was just doing everything, you know, um, how do you say, backwards? And so I was like, okay, so at 39, I should be pregnant. 37, 38, we should be married. 36, we should get engaged. So I was like, Rafa, you have to propose next year. You have a year. And he's like, with the taco in his mouth, like, what? So So I was like, okay, I don't care how you do it. Just, you have a year. I just request one thing, that you do not do it in a restaurant. So keep that in mind. And so, the year goes by and there's no engagement. And we're getting closer to that 36th anniversary or birthday. And, when we go on trips, I'm the one that usually plans everything. I have my itinerary, my Excel, all of the activities. I love doing that. And so we were set to go to Madeira, an island in Portugal. And Rafa was like, oh, did you plan the itinerary? And I said, yes. He's like, okay, let me take a look. And he's like, oh, do you have something planned for Saturday? Yes, look at it. He's like, okay, cancel it. Okay, I play dumb. I play dumb. So we go on our trip. Saturday comes around, and it's 25 degrees over there. And he said, maybe we should take our coats. And we flew in from Berlin, so it was March and so cold in Berlin in March. And I'm like, I'm not going with my winter coat through the city. And he's like, okay, well, I am. Okay, fine. And right before we were heading out, it was really early in the morning, like 7 a.m. He's like, I'm going to go downstairs to the B&B, bed and breakfast, to get some coffee. And I said, why? We're about to have breakfast. And he's like, well, you know how I am with my coffee. Okay. Anyway, we have breakfast. We go to the city. We have a fabulous time. We have lunch. We have tea. We have their specialty drinks. And finally, it's 4 o'clock, and he gets a call. And the call is the skipper, the surprise sunset sailboat trip. And so apparently the skipper says that the waves are very rough. Would it be possible to just do it the next day? But we were flying back the next day. So he said, okay, well, I'll call back in an hour and see how it is. Okay, no problem. An hour goes by. He calls again. He says, okay, the waves are really rough. It doesn't mean that it's dangerous. It's just that the experience might not be as smooth. And so we're like, oh, that's fine. We're adventurers. Do you have one of those pills, nausea pill? We'll just take that. So we get to the boat and he gives us the pill. And as soon as he docks out, Yuri, the boat goes like this. And so, as you can imagine, I freaked out a little bit, and I was holding on to everything, trying to look at the horizon and just not interact with anybody or listen to anybody. And the skipper was like, hey, Jennifer, do you want to connect your Spotify to a phone to have some music? I was like, nope. And he was asking me a bunch of questions to try and calm me. And I was like, nope, with my sunglasses on. And he's like, okay, well, don't worry. Just, this will be about 2 hours. We can turn back whenever you want. So I'm like, okay, oh my gosh, this is where Rafa's going to propose. And I'm here about to bark. So for the next 30 minutes, I'm not enjoying this boat, unfortunately. And I see Rafa texting or taking pictures of me. And I was like, why are you texting? You're making me more nauseous. Why are you taking pictures of me? This is not funny. I had my bucket. And I start to doze off and hallucinate because I guess this was a very strong anti-nausea pill.
Wow.
So I would doze off and I would wake up and be nauseous again. Anyway, after the hour, I said, okay, we're going back. I'm really sorry, but I can't do this. And so as soon as he turns around, I don't only throw up once, but I throw up 5 times in this bucket. And when you throw up, you cry, you have tears. And so I'm crying and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. And I'm just not, enjoying this trip that I'm sure Rafa put a lot of effort in. And the guy just takes the bucket, throws it overboard. And I'm like, I want to go back home to the hotel. I'm never going to sailboat again. So we get off the boat, and then Rafa's like, well, I did reserve dinner. This was supposed to be the celebratory dinner. I'm like, okay, we go to the dinner. And They took us to the beautiful restaurant overlooking the island. And as soon as we sit down, I hear Rafa go, fuck it, I'm doing it right now. And he gets on my knee and he proposes. And so I'm like, you're doing it in a restaurant? And so I was just like, yes, just sit down, give me the ring. um, so that's the story. And just to fast forward, dessert between the first meal and because it was an 8-course meal that he had prepared with like wine pairings for everything. And I had just thrown up my entire life. I couldn't enjoy that. So anytime they would come refill the wine, I would just give it to Rafa. So Rafa was getting drunk for both of us. And I was like, let's just call our family and tell them I'm so tired and tomorrow we're traveling. It's like, no, let's just enjoy it. And so I said, okay, fine. And then dessert comes and I see light, like a light that comes towards us. And I'm thinking, oh, they're bringing the cake with like, candles. But it's a waiter with his phone and flashlight and he's recording us. And I was like, what? And then I hear behind me, may we join you for dessert? And I turn around and it's my mom with her husband who flew all the way from Florida for this specific moment. And I was just like, stomped and flabbergasted and just in awe because for a second I was like, is this for real? Like, are you really here? And that was really, although, I knew he was going to propose, I didn't know about this surprise. So that's the story of the engagement from my point of view. Are you ready for the other point of view?
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Okay. So then, I was thinking, wait, how did you get the engagement ring? Because the engagement ring, the diamond, was a gift from my mom. And all we did is we got the ring done to hold the diamond, but it was in the States. So the story was that Rafa would be in cahoots with my mother for like the last 2 months, planning this and saying, how are you going to send the ring? Okay, we'll send it via post. Is that safe? We should have insurance. What if it gets lost? Sending it to Germany might incur taxes. They'll have to we don't know what the value of this ring is. What if it's like, $1 million? It's not $1 million. But, so the idea was that she fly with the ring and surprise us. And what happened was that morning where Rafa went to get his coffee, he actually went to get the ring. And so from my mom. And so my mom was in the Airbnb with us. She was in the city with us. So while we were enjoying our day that Saturday, Rafa was having multiple heart attacks because he was afraid that we would bump into my mother. And also the person he was texting on the boat was the skipper, because the skipper was also in on it. And the skipper was like, should I take out the bottle of champagne right now? And Rafa was like, no. Or like,
yeah, exactly.
You sure you want to propose right now? And he was like, I don't know. And then he would tell me that the person I was taking a picture was your mom because I was telling her, I can't propose to you. Look, she's throwing up. And my mom apparently told him, you better propose before we get to the restaurant. So poor Rafa was like having nightmares the night before he told me he didn't sleep. But he covered it pretty well. But yeah, that was the crazy engagement story.
That's how you deal with unexpected things coming up your way and everything going not as you planned it.
Yeah, so it was I would say it was a failed engagement proposal. Now we have a great story.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about how it finished, and it sounds like it finished great.
I know. How did you propose? Did you propose? Did you have a proposal?
Yeah, it was not that hard. Like for me, from my perspective, I feel like I just got a ring, and it was like something that, will you marry me? and that's all. And I feel like it was somewhere in home. And the fun thing that we were not living together before marriage, and we were just meeting each other, and then all the stuff. And the fun thing that my wife still remembering and reminded me from time, I definitely remember it myself, but it was like we started dating when we were in university, and I was like, as soon as I get a job, I will propose you. So basically, that I got a job, and like 1 month or 2 months later, it was like, "Will you marry me?" So, and it was not, yeah, it was definitely unexpected, but not like super unexpected.
It has to
And
have that element of surprise.
because I was thinking like, okay, I need to have some money. If we are going to get married, at least I need some money because parents definitely can help, but it would
Yeah.
be weird. So
Yeah. Sometimes simple is way better. Or, adding your own personality touch to it, which I'm sure you did.
yeah, yeah, and we were super young. We were like 20, 21, something like that. So
Wow.
yeah,
You're so
it's like,
lucky you found your person this soon.
and we were the fun thing that at the first course, like we were learning together.
Yeah.
And then we didn't see each other in the first course. Like we were in the same group, but
Hmm.
then it started somewhere like on the second course or on the third course. So
You noticed her. You're like,
yeah, and it was the same way from her. It was
hmm.
this random. Oh wow, hello there. Yeah,
I'm gonna
but
marry this woman.
it's a great story also. Yeah, and the fun thing that we had a kid. So currently my kid is like 12 years old, and I had a lot of friends who were like, "Oh my god, you are so young! You're already having a kid. How do you manage?" And I'm normally like, is it something weird? Like, yeah, it's a kid, so what? And then like, "Oh my god, you might have sleepless nights and all the stuff." I was like, no.
I think we all have, everybody has different views of how
Yeah, it depends. It depends. All,
parenthood
all
is.
depends on how you
Yeah.
how you think and how you prepared on what you've seen in
Mm.
your like life practice and etc. Because I know some people are really afraid of having children because like, I can manage a dog. How can I manage a children? But there is not such a big difference.
Yeah.
I feel like managing a dog is harder than managing a kid.
Yes. And for me, plants, unfortunately.
You have this fun. I feel like you have all plans. So
Yes, we have it planned, but sometimes it's just better not to have anything planned, as we can see. let let life happen to you, but just guide it. You know, make life
yeah,
happen for you.
I had this conversation with Carolyn Zick, and she
Hmm.
called a term created serendipity.
Oh yeah, that's such a community thing to say.
Yeah, yeah. She's a community builder, so
I know.
yeah. How
My
did you
favorite.
feel? How did you feel when you knocked out a robot in the robot restaurant?
So this was a Japan trip. Tokyo restaurant. If anybody's going to Japan in Tokyo, and if it's still open, I hope it is. It was a very fun experience. Go to Tokyo restaurant. You have a meal, and there's uh, like a boxing match between robots. Um, some of them were humans dressed up as robots, but it was really fun because on the one side you have Jen is terrified of being in the center of attention, and then you have the other one that's like, but yeah, but I do really like it though, and so going there was fun, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use my karate, and so doing my like jab and my cross. I think I have a video somewhere. It's really fun. I enjoyed my time. It's really good.
Yeah, I saw this video. It was really fun. So
Oh, you saw it? Where is it? I was like, where can
it's
I
on
find it?
Instagram.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Have you been to Japan?
Not yet, but I really love its culture and I really love the mindset that they have. And I have a few friends from Japan.
Hmm.
Like they're also freelancers, and we talk here and there. And I'm getting a glimpse on Japan culture from them, and I'm learning so much. And the fun thing, there is this person in 9 a.m. community, Chika Hero, and he told me that they have this tradition in Japan to eat KFC on Christmas.
Oh, yes. Yes, I read about that. It's
But it's
true.
so fun. I was like, oh wow, it's so fun. Yeah. So, and I just love their approach of being calm and mindful and think about what's happening. Not like, definitely you still have emotions for sure, but not not take it personally,
Mm,
and always think like, what will happen next? Like, should I, if somebody, if somebody gives you a, let's say, a challenge,
mm,
like word challenge, if somebody wants to insult you or something like that, that you don't have to
react.
be, yeah, you don't have to react, you don't have to be in this situation, because if this person wants you to engage, you don't have to accept it.
Hmm.
Because usually, like in Ukrainian mindset, if somebody tries to attack you, you are giving it back. What did you say? Like,
Yeah.
and then if you are not taking this gift, it remains with its owner. So, and I was like, oh, I don't remember when I had the story somewhere that it was a Japanese teacher and somebody ran out the door and like started shouting at him and like trying to fight with him, and he was just
Mm,
sitting still. And then this person ran away, and then students asking, why didn't you answer, why did you accept this fight? And he was like, when you are giving a gift to somebody, people can accept this or not accept this. So if you are
mhm,
not accepting it, the gift remains with its owner. So the same is here. You can accept it or not. And he told like, I didn't want to accept it. So it remained with this person. And I was
mhm.
like, oh wow, really? Is it even possible? But it's really great mindset.
Yeah, that is very nice. I don't think I've heard about the gift. But I do um, highly respect their honor system. And South Korea also has it. One day we went out, a friend of mine, and um, she had forgotten her phone there. We went out clubbing, that night. So for sure, we were thinking from our own experience in the Western world, oh, it's gone. We're never going to find the phone. So she called the club and she said, hey, by any chance, would you have my phone? And they're like, oh, yes, it's still here. And so she went to pick it up. When she picked it up, they had even charged it for her. And another instance, I went to a coffee shop to do some laptop work in South Korea. And I had my bag, backpack, you know, all my belongings, my laptop, my phone. I went to the bathroom. I came back and all my stuff was still there. It was great. They know that it doesn't belong to them. And so they respect other people's um, things and property.
Yeah, it's something that many cultures lack of for sure. And I
Mm-hmm.
wonder, were you a strict teacher?
No, another reason why I think I might have been a performer of some sort in another life is that when I would teach, I would put on a character and I would just become this larger than life person because you're teaching children English or you have to make it fun somehow. So I would create these games and make it very interactive and kind of feed onto what they like so that I would maintain their attention. We would do songs and yeah, I wasn't strict. Sometimes the difference between I did notice a difference between South Korean children and Spanish children, um, and but otherwise it's fine. They're children, of course. They're not going to always pay attention to you, and you have to let them play.
And what about making kids say, I will not speak Korean?
Oh yeah, where did you read that?
It was on Instagram. It's everything
Oh,
there. Oh, your
that's true.
life is there.
Oh my gosh, good thing it's private. But um, I think this came actually from the co-teachers. They,
Hmm.
whenever they would speak Korean or they they would reinforce and be my backup if I wasn't able to have them just speak English. And so it was kind of this collective thing where they would all say it together. We don't speak Korean, or I will not speak Korean.
Yeah,
So
because
yeah.
they have to speak English. You're teaching them English. So yeah.
Hmm.
But it was fun. It looked fun.
Oh yeah. Experience of a lifetime. Amazing.
Jen, I really wish to have the sky as the limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions. Are you
Oh,
ready?
rapid fire questions. Okay.
Korean or Spanish cuisine?
Korean.
Travel solo or with friends?
With friends.
What are your favorite color and song?
Blue. No, can't answer like no songs. I too big of a repertoire, but
For
I
today.
re- I'll give you a genre. I really like blues and soulful R&B music, like big voices. But then I also like really cheap, overproduced pop songs. They're just they're bad, but they have such a catchy tune. And I love that too.
If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Can I pick three?
Sure, it's up to you.
Okay, so the power of persuasion. Um, the super strength, and maybe flight. Flight.
Basically, if you can fly and you have super strange, like power of persuasion is coming
I
with it.
know. Actually, no, I take that back. Not super strength, but telekinesis.
Okay, it makes it even easier. Who do you learn from in the community world? Name just one person.
Yuri.
It's cheating, but yeah. Okay.
Um, um, at some point I was listening a lot to In Before the Lock,
Mm-hmm.
that podcast with Erica and Brian. But when I first started out, it was really like just CMX all the way. So I mean, CMX is not a person, but that's Beth and David. Um, and now I also um, read Noelle Flowers' blog. I
Mm-hmm.
receive her, obviously Richard, but that's everybody.
It's
Um,
definitely a little bit more than one person for sure.
yeah, and but I scan the Slack, the community Slack, and people have such cool ideas. So it doesn't matter if you're this mini celebrity within our community industry or not. Like those are the lucky ones. Not lucky. They did put a lot of work into their work, so I take that back.
And
But
there are so many hidden gems.
yes, yes. So those are mostly our leaders, I want to say. So it's always good to look up to them. But yeah, that's why, like you're doing right now, you're speaking to all of us. You're being inspired by all of these stories that you're hearing. And
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it influences your story. And yeah, I totally get it. And name two people who I should definitely reach out to and have this conversation with.
so, Joanna, Dutchmeyer, I think I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying her last name properly. Joanna and, oh, what about, is it Demario or Mario?
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about? What's his
Demario
name?
is amazing. Demario Bell. Yeah.
Okay, so Demario Bell.
Okay. Is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
No. I, I mean, we could have gone on and on, but no. I think you covered everything.
I still have a ton. So as I told, it's just because of time
And of course,
limit.
I can't think about questions now because I'm all hyped up and I'm still in high adrenaline from talking to you. So I can't really rely on my brain.
Yeah, no worries. It's just the beginning, it's like volume one, then volume two. So we definitely continue this conversation.
Starting
And
from the bottom, now we're here.
I'm so happy to get to know more about you.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for sharing that because, I was thinking like, okay, I know Jen, I know what she does in the community world, but I have no idea what is a human behind. And finally, when I was preparing, I found that you are so fun, interesting, open, shiny person that I was like,
Thank you.
yeah, let's talk. Definitely, I have to know more. And that's exactly how it is. That's exactly how I feel. So thank you very much for your time and for this conversation. And I'm super happy to learn more about you.
Yeah, right back at you, Yuri. I'm glad I reached out.
Thank you very much and see you in the community world.